and we have some of our members who are going to tell us all about what a Black sorority is about, and also how they contribute to the communities. But I'm going to start by just telling you a little bit about SestraNow. For those that may not know, SestraNow is an international women's organization. It is the goal of SestraNow is to create a sisterhood of women worldwide, where we work together and utilize our individual unique skills, talents, and abilities to lift each other up financially, physically, in all aspects of life. And we're continuing to grow, and we look forward to everyone growing with us and getting to know each and every one of you. So I'm going to start by introducing Annette, who will introduce our guests.
Hello, ladies. It is my pleasure to come here and to host this as SestraNow. You know that we had a historic moment of having our first woman vice president, our first African-American vice president of the United States, and we were all celebrating. But more so, I just love to see the sororities, right? The joy and the celebration is even taken to another level. And so I thought that it would be very appropriate for us to honor your organizations today and to highlight your organizations so that we can educate people to see what it is that you have to offer. You know, I went to Stony Brook and I had a lot of friends who pledged, and I thought that I would do Delta. You know, I went to college, I'm gonna pledge Delta. And, you know, it didn't work out that way, but I have some really good friends and in all of the sororities. And you know, my sister Leslie's here, she's Sigma Gamma Rho. I have Sauda, who's, you know, my girl from law school, and Lorraine from Stony Brook as well, and Cordelia. So I'm going to allow these illustrious women to introduce themselves as we get started. And we're going to start with AKA, which I was educated was founded first. So the correct order usually when you're presenting a panel would be from who founded it first. I was educated on that.
Correct. That's why I assumed when I asked the question, but I wanted to be sure. Greetings. My name is Sauda Johnson McNeil, and I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. As of next year, I will actually be a silver star. I was initiated into the sorority in spring 1997 at the University of Southern California. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and I went to law school with Miss Annette and Miss Stephanie, so that is how we know each other. I am now transitioning out of law, and I own a film production company, and it is specifically dedicated to creating films with self-love messaging about Black women by Black women. So I thank you for having me here today.
Yes, and I would like to add that Sauda gives a wonderful series of different speakers about self-empowerment, and I've had the pleasure of attending, and it's really, she's doing an amazing job, and I encourage everyone out there to join her Facebook page, because she's giving a lot of golden nuggets out there for free. So thank you.
And I want to add that as well. You must join her Facebook page. You're missing out, especially as a Black woman, if you don't join Ron Ash. Check her out on Instagram and Facebook. And we're looking forward to seeing her films. And I think she even she's doing focus groups, right? Sauda, where she's looking for that great story, which I'm sure we all have. Everyone of us has a story. So you never know, maybe you'll be in one of her next movies. I still have to talk to her about that, but go ahead.
Thank you, I appreciate that. The name of my company, I apologize, is Ron Ash. I named it after my father, so it's RONASH LLC, and it's everything Black women, melanin, all of that. I celebrate us on the self-love platform, and it's undeniably Black women. Thank you.
And I just want to encourage our next, Cordelia was next. I encourage you to please promote your services, whatever it is that you're doing. That is what we're about, the networking, that's the heart of it. And it seems like the women are afraid or hesitant to do it, but that's what we created it for. So please do please do promote what it is that you share.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Cordelia Anthony, and I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I was initiated at Stony Brook University's Pi Delta chapter in spring 1995. It seems like yesterday, but it wasn't. I am an educator. I teach high school living environment science at Farmingdale High School, and I've been there for over 20 years as well. I am also the president of the Farmingdale Federation of Teachers, which is our local teachers union there, and a member of the New York State United Teachers Executive Board. So I keep busy with education and unionism a lot, besides my local chapter, which is a Suffolk County Alumni chapter out here in Long Island, New York.
Welcome, Cordelia.
Thank you.
Now we have Lorraine.
Hi, everybody. Hey, it's so good to be here amongst my sisters. I'm feeling the empowerment. It's exactly what I needed for the ending of my Wednesday. My name is Lorraine Richardson McCrae, and I'm currently in Suffolk County. I'm not going to stay here for the rest of my life, though. I started out at Stony Brook, and that's where I know so many of your faces from. I'm a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and I have been a member since 1997. Feels like yesterday, I have to say, like Cordelia, it doesn't feel like the time passes until you look back, over your life and you're like, wow, I really come far. Well, I became a teacher. And well, I'm a mom. I'm a very proud mother. My daughter is 24. She lives in Maryland. My son is 21, Leah and Leo. If anybody knows, exactly why their names is Leah and Leo. Let's not go into it. That's a whole nother panel. And I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for, this is my 23rd year. And I teach English as a second language. And I'm also English certified. So now I do both. I do ENL and I do ENL and ELA classes at Belport Middle School. And I've been there for my full 23 years. And I'm a member of, I can't even tell you how many different organizations here in Suffolk County, but I am all about community and activism. And that's really the heart of my sorority as well. Service, scholarship, sisterhood, of course, and then final womanhood. So in a lot of my work, I do make my main heart has been parliamentary procedure, Robert's Rules of Order. So I've been a parliamentarian for about 25 years now, 25 years studying parliamentary procedure, and now working on getting my certifications in that. But I need to finish the dissertation first. That would be nice if I could do that. And I work with National Association of Parliamentarians, State of Black Long Island, NAACP, all kinds of different organizations. But my own heart is to really launch, after I'm finished with my dissertation, really launch my educational resource group, Naya Usi Educational Resource Group, to further parliamentary procedure workshops and supporting organizations in that vein, and also to do workshops on implicit bias and cultural responsiveness training for teachers and also for other organizations like police departments, fire departments, and so forth. So that's the community work that I'd like to do once I transition and retire, because I have the energy and the heart for it. So
here I go.
Welcome, Lorraine. And we hope that you can squeeze in a little time for SestraNow as well. On top of all that, give us a little couple, maybe half an hour here and there. Welcome. And last, but certainly not least, we have Leslie Faulkner, who's from Sigma Gamma Rho.
Hey everyone, my name is Leslie Faulkner. I am the baby sorority of the group. I'm very happy to be here. It's not very much that I participate in these kind of functions, but sorority is very near and dear to my heart. This past December, I hit my 25-year mark with the organization. I came in fall of 1995 in the Alpha Pi chapter, in which is the Metropolitan chapter for New York. I'm currently the ROA advisor for the graduate chapter, which is the ROA group is our affiliate group that we have that's geared for young ladies from 12 to 17. I am their advisor. So we do, we are teaching them the way of the sorority and of sisterhood. By profession, I am a recruiter, a corporate recruiter. I have been in corporate banking for the last 20 something years. Currently, I am at Deutsche Bank as a campus recruiter / program manager. So dealing with early careers. So interns and graduates coming out from the, getting out from their first year. Our big focus is definitely diversity and inclusion. So working with the HBCUs to get in those Black talents into these corporate positions, as well as the Latinx community. So that's a big drive for me this year. On a personal note, I am an avid traveler, and I feel that I have a lot to give to the young women. And hopefully I will be able to use this platform to share the knowledge that I'm also getting to pass on to anyone who's interested, anyone who knows of any Black and Latinos that are looking to get into banking. Please feel free to reach out. There are opportunities.
Thank you. Welcome, Leslie. And so to start off, and this is a question I'm going to throw out. You can, whoever wants to answer can answer. We are in Black History Month, and we're celebrating Black History Month. And it is my understanding that the reason why we have Black sororities and fraternities in the first place is because there was a need. So would one of you like to just give a brief history of Black sororities and fraternities? Just brief.
I mean, I can't speak to all. I would only be able to speak to Alpha Kappa Alpha in terms of our history. And essentially, as you said, for us, yes, we were founded in 1908, and at that time, at Howard, there was a need, and we did not actually start off as the community service organization that we have now morphed into. So it was really just more about us really supporting each other, right? And just based on what we were going through in that country at that time. And then as we became, in my opinion, more progressive in terms of what we needed to also see what was happening from a global, in terms of creating a global footprint, we then started incorporating at many years ago, of course, our community service in terms of helping specifically, of course, Black women, but just in general, our people. And so that is the history of starting, and then of course the growth that we have made in working with other Divine Nine organizations as well.
And as for Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, we were also founded at Howard University. So, at that time, as usual, as mentioned, women were struggling to get their own identity. And of course, Black women were trying to do more empowering things. For Delta Sigma Theta, one of our first acts was actually participating in the Women's Suffrage March. And even at that point, they didn't want us walking with the white women. They wanted a special area for us. But that was our first public act. And most of the organizations, as you'll hear, focus on public service and trying to be involved in not, community activity, community service, making sure that we're looking out for the African-American community. We have members that are not African-American, but we definitely focus most of our programmatic thrust on trying to improve the Black experience in this country as well.
Thank you. That's interesting that you have non-Black members. Do you find any kind of challenges because of that, or any kind of clashes?
Not usually. I mean, the women that would choose to be initiated into a predominantly Black college, usually, or alumni organization, understand that what the focus of our organization is community service. So they know that the programs that are set will focus on people in the African diaspora and, trying to improve our economic health, our physical, mental health, trying to get politically involved, and, just at the end of the day, being a sisterhood, basically of Black college educated women. So they know, even, you know, our Latinx members, our Caucasian members, we have members from East Asia, you know, and I'm sure some of the other organizations do as well. So they are fully aware of what they're doing when they choose to become initiated.
Thank you.
Zeta, I was gonna speak for Zeta, if that's okay. Is that okay? Okay.
Of course, of
So-
course.
So I just love the story about the Lover's Stroll at Howard University. We had the members of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity taking his stroll with our illustrious founder, Arizona Cleaver Stemmons. And the idea he brought to her, A. Langston Taylor brought to her, was the idea of founding a sister sorority to Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. So after he brought that thought to her, the wheels got moving, turning. I won't go through the whole story, but 5 college ed co-eds started Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated at Howard University, just like AKA and Delta. They actually did a minor hall, that's the shirt that I'm wearing. They had their coming out ceremony, and I believe AKAs and Deltas also were there to bring in and welcome Zetas to the campus and to the world. And for Zeta, I think one of the most important things for us has been service. Since I became a member, it's always community conscious, action oriented. We have something called Get Engaged, where we are involved with social action, social justice, and it's been something that's been ongoing since the inception of the organization. We also have Z-Hope, Zeta's Helping Other People Excel. And that's for international women, men, and young women. And also for our auxiliary organizations, our auxiliary groups as well. So Zeta has always been in the forefront of social action, social change, justice, and has always encouraged its members to be socially minded, conscious, and action oriented in those areas.
Thank you. Leslie, did you want to say something?
Sure. So Sigma Gamma Rho is, you know, not only the youngest, but we are the only sorority that wasn't founded at Howard. So there definitely was a need. We joined the scene in November 12th of 1922. So 2 years after the luxury Zetas, but quite some years after the Deltas and the AKAs. And we were founded at Butler University in Indianapolis. So there definitely was a need for representations. It started out for helping Black women, and our organization was founded by 7 school teachers. So our focus a lot is on education and giving and leadership. To this day, just like the other ones, we also have members outside of the Black and the African-American population. We do have our white sisters and Latinx sisters and even Asians to be, and you know, we're all about inclusivity. And yes, it started out for a need for representation amongst the African-American women in Indianapolis, but we've grown. We have chapters all over in Canada as well as Bermuda. So we have definitely extended our sisterhood way beyond the US borders.
Wow, that's shame on me for assuming that you guys had, like, I know you each were founded in different ways, but I thought it was like lumped together. One person could just tell what the history of sororities are. So thank you. That's very enlightening and interesting. So I'm gonna try to shake it up again because I don't want you guys to feel that you have to go in the order. So I'm gonna ask.
And then before you do that, can I just interrupt with a question from the live?
Okay.
Because it goes to more about the sororities and how you get involved. So Judelia, one of our sisters from St. Lucia, asked, how can a person join a sorority? Anyone can ask. I don't know if it's the same across the board.
Right, and my question was kind of like, how do you join a sorority on campus? Because it starts at the campus, right? And I guess I'd be interested to know if you have to be affiliated with campus to join.
Julie and I are like shaking our head like,
well, yeah.
can start.
starts on
Go ahead, let's switch up the order. You start, Miss Cordelia.
Thank you, Sauda. So it's different depending on where you are and depending on if there are chapters where you're located. So it isn't always membership intake on a collegiate campus. There are alumni or graduate chapters as well that are based, at least in our organization, by areas. So we have over 900 chapters around the world: Saudi Arabia, Germany, Jamaica, Bahamas, they're US Virgin Islands. So you also can be initiated through those organizations in that way as well. So it's not just, a collegiate base, even though we were all founded on college campuses. We do a lot more once we get out of colleges. Some of our, the organizations that are just at college, once they leave college, there's no more organizations for them to do, but we work internationally to continue our community service work. And you would reach out, do some research, look up the organization, try to find out information about if there is a chapter on a college campus, or if there's a citywide chapter, or if there is a local chapter, like in your state, county, or even citywide alumni chapter as well, to find out if they are having membership intake, and try to check out the program, see if you are definitely aligned with that group before you make a decision.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone else like to add to that?
I would say the first thing that someone needs to do if they're interested in any of our organizations, Zeta Phi Beta has always prided itself on do your research. First thing first, go to the internet. We have way too much information online for anybody to say, I don't know, I'm not sure. If you're not sure, Google it. That's what I tell my kids in school, Google it. Let Google lead you a little bit. And then if you have anybody in your area or in your neighborhood or in your organizations or in any of your affiliations, ask them questions. I want to say that all of our organizations, especially as we mature and we get more seasoned, we are so much more open to talking about, joining and being a member. Sometimes on the collegiate level, it could get a little, sticky. People don't want to tell anybody what they're interested in. But, when you're interested in something and it's in your heart and it's what you want to do, you have to kind of put yourself out there a little bit. You're going to have to, put out your feelers. You're going to have to let somebody know that you're interested. And I want to say Zeta Phi Beta was the first to have chapters in Africa. We have chapters, and we just reactivated our chapter in Liberia, and we have a chapter in Ghana. So just like the other organizations, we have Germany, we have Germany, we have, where else? United Arab Emirates. They're all everywhere, all over the place. So there's chapters and there's graduate chapters for all of our organizations. But first thing to do is Google it, go to the websites, and you will get so much more information. And you'll be able to actually call each and every one of our national offices and get somebody on the line and get information. There's email addresses there as well. You're just going to have to put that hook out to get that information if you're really interested.
So Stephanie, there's still hope for us? We can still join.
We can still join. Doesn't matter. The age doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So I have a question, and I'm going to put it out for whoever wants to grab it. Go back to your college self, pre-sorority. If you could talk to that person, what would you tell her? That person, pre-sorority, what would you tell her? Or if you could reflect on how you were then as opposed to how you are today, what would you say?
I would love to, yes, I would love to take that, because as we have shared, my platform right now is everything self-love for Black women. And so since that is the agenda that I'm pushing, I would love to share the fact that I would tell myself, my college self, to love myself. Because at that time, I did not. I thought I did because, I'm like, and this is pre-AKA. So, despite the stereotypes, right? It didn't matter. I always thought I was, fine and all this other stuff, but that was very surface level. You know what I mean? And when it came to my dating men and what I allowed in my life, toxic relationships, toxic friendships, I was in very sticky situations that like sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so happy I still was able to get in law school type of sticky situations, right? So for me, I would say that really, and this is to anyone who's still in that college age, really work on everything you need to do to just truly love yourself unconditionally and give yourself space to understand that you are human. You're in this society as Black women, so already we are just dealing with all the different isms that we have to experience. And who's gonna love us more than us? No one. We have to love ourselves. We have to understand that, it's just a journey. So that's what I would tell myself, is to love myself. And the other thing I would add for me is I set a lot of high unreasonable standards when I was 18, 19, 20. I just had and I'm not saying that goals are unrealistic. What I'm saying is that be reasonable, give yourself grace, right? So at 20, yes, you would love to possibly be the next Oprah by the time you're maybe 30, but, maybe if that doesn't happen, give yourself grace to say that's okay, right? Set small goals for yourself, accomplish those, and just keep climbing, because everything you do, it's awesome. It is okay. And just love yourself unconditionally. So that's what I would say.
Wow, that was very inspirational. I'm glad. The young sisters that are gonna hear this, I hope that you listen to that and take it to heart and do it. Do it now. Don't wait till you get knocked. The knocks of life. Try to do that now. Thank you very much for that. Unless somebody else wanted to add something, I would move on.
I have a question.
Okay.
From someone watching. Okay. Anyone can answer. Why were different sororities started on the same campus? And why didn't aspiring sorors join the one already started? It's kind of like,
because each one is different. We have a different flavor for each one of our organizations. There is something about that organization. I actually was going to talk about this. And actually, we do have a chapter in Korea. It's one of the military chapters. I'm sorry, but I digress. When you want to join an organization, like Annette said, I wanted to be a Delta. It was something about Delta that drew her to it. And I want to say right now, make it very clear, we did not join these organizations because of the colors. Blue and white is not my favorite color. It has absolutely, and y'all can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the color scheme. It had to do with the women that you were involved with. It had to do with the feeling that you got from that organization. In its inception, our organizations are very much the same. We all have scholarship. We all are collegiates. We all have graduated from college and have pursued higher education. We all have sisterhood. We all have service embedded into our organizations as it has grown. We're all into different either advocacy or community service. But there's something about that organization that drew you to it. And in my particular situation, it was the camaraderie. It was the acceptance before I even became a Zeta. It was that those women saw something in me and they chose me before I even chose them. And they showed a certain kind of care and love that spoke to my heart and spoke into me. So there's nothing wrong or nothing was wrong with AKA. There was nothing wrong with Delta. There was nothing wrong with Sigma Gamma Rho, nothing at all. But it was just something that caused that heartstring to be pulled and caused me to go in that direction and to be a member of the organization.
I'm gonna jump
Anthony,
in
I'm, oh,
that
go.
on that thought. And I'm gonna say it's definitely is, we talked about doing your research. And I have to say that, I have family members that are AKAs and belong to Alpha Phi Alpha. So, I got that immediate pressure, when it was time to go to college. So for going into college, honestly, all I knew was pink and green, because that was what was instilled in me. When you go to school, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. But I did my research. I went to all the meetings. I went to all the informational sessions. And although I went there thinking I was going to walk out in pink and green, I ended up in blue and yellow. And that is because, again, like my Zeta sister said, it was just the comfort. I went and they were so, I didn't feel I had to show anything because I wasn't going to be a legacy. I wasn't going to be, there was absolutely no pressure whatsoever. But the real thing is that I did my history. I made a choice for myself. I didn't choose based on a family member or the pressures that are that come with joining, one of these organizations. I have nieces that came through our affiliate program and they're like, oh, are you going to push them through? If they want to choose a different sistership, that's fine by me. It's all about what is right for you and what feels right for you when you make the decision to join one of the illustrious organizations.
Yeah. You guys
just comment as well, just that, I'm not sure if the person was asking about the three of us that were founded at Howard University. Why, did we were they founded when there was already an African-American organization to join? Well, HBCUs, there's a lot of people on those campuses. And at the time, I'm sure there were different alignments and goals, and what one organization was doing, another organization had a different mindset or a different plan for what they wanted the strength and the core of their organization to be. So just to answer that part of the question, yes, there were organizations available, like mentioned, but the founders wanted to do something different at the time. So they had their own focuses and joined that way. And like everyone else said here, when you're on a campus as well, you feel a kinship with the organization you want to join. And so you see something special in the women, maybe in that chapter at that school or in that community organization, alumni chapter. And that's what draws you there as well. You say, she's dynamic. I want to be like her. There is something unique and special about that. And so you kind of are drawn to that as well.
You ladies are just dispelling some myths that we have, because for many of us, our point of references are Black films. And so I would have thought that there's a lot of pressure for legacy, a lot of pressure for, you see the moms that are pressuring their daughters to join their organization. And another thing that you're sharing here, and it's funny because in preparation for this, I sent some sample questions to the ladies, to the women, to my girls, right? to the women. And Sauda was like, first of all, we do not go against each other. She was like, get that clear, So that's another thing you would think a stereotype is that there's cattiness among the groups. So,
can I talk about the legacy part a little bit? Yeah, I just gotta give y'all a story. Y'all gonna love this. So my baby girl went to George Mason.
Lorraine seems to be
Froze.
Yeah, she froze.
Oh no.
In the meantime, with somebody else?
Well, yeah, I don't have a story per se as Miss Lorraine might have, but I do want to say that that's not to say that there's not pressure.
University.
It depends on the person, because, for example, some people, like, for example, if they have a daughter, no different than anything else that someone might do, depending on how involved you are in your sorority and your relationship with your daughter, for some women, it can be very hurtful. if their daughter chooses to join an organization different. And I know some young women who had decided not to join an organization because they were so close to their mom, but they just didn't necessarily want to be in a sorority that was different than hers. So it really is, I would be lying if I said, at least in my experience, and I don't have a daughter yet, but I mean, that's something that's on my agenda right now. And I have to tell you, I would definitely, especially if I feel like I'm a great mom, like I want her to like look up to me no different than if someone wanted to follow what their mentor was doing. I would want her to join my sorority and do that with me. So, that's not to say there's not pressure, but I think at the end of the day, women, when you're in college, you just decide, as Sister Leslie said, you just decide to be that individual and step out on what you want to do. And then you just have to know your family dynamic and what comes with that, right? So, but I'm sorry, Ms. Lorraine, I know you were Sister Lorraine.
That's okay. These things, we're in Zoom land. So what can we do? You wouldn't have been able to stop me if we was a real person, but Zoom land, I got it, So anyway, my daughter got to her senior year and I'm thinking, it's not gonna happen. But I'm saying I'm keeping it to myself and them deltas is after her. And I'm like, just biting my lip. I'm not saying I'm trying to be cool on it. And she finally said, well, Mom, yeah, I think before she could get the words out of her mouth, I was on the phone, I was texting, I was with the state director, I was contacting chapters. Thank God. I just have to say that moment is just there is no other feeling like it in the world when you see your child choose what you chose because of your influence on her life. And I heard you at the last part when you said your mentor. Anybody whose life you're touching, these young women that I've seen go through, middle school and high school, when they come back and they say, oh, Miss McCray, I joined Zeta because I remember you had Zeta on your desk, and there is no other feeling in the world. And even if they join another organization, I still feel like I gave them a good role model, a good image. I projected something finer that they wanted to aspire to. So that's just, now I'm just waiting on my son. That's a whole
You guys are giving me goosebumps over here. They give me all these kind of feels.
Y'all pray on Leo.
I love Leo. And I love, we're in SestraNow, it's about a sisterhood. And so it's really good. It's good to know that these are, those are the ideas of unity. It's universal, right? It's universal no matter what race you are, no matter what culture you come from. And that any organization that is going to further the sisterhood, I'm saying, I applaud you. And I think it's wonderful. And it's nice to know that there's life after college in your sororities. Sometimes it seems like it's even you're doing more after college. So we are at about 5:43. And so I'm going to try to have to cut out some of the questions. But one question that I have is, if you could just tell us quickly some notable members, some notable members of your organizations.
I'm just going to say it, Shaka Khan. That's it. I'm done.
I'm cracking. I love it. I mean, Delta Sigma Theta has a lot of honorary members. Everybody from, and members who are initiated as well. But Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan. Everybody from political figures. Cicely Tyson, who just passed away. Like, there's so many. In every field, you can find a Delta doing work. Whether it's senators, we have actors and actresses, but there's a plethora, if you think of Black history, of women who were members of Delta Sigma Theta, Dr. Betty Shabazz. I mean, and the list goes on and on, but look it up. I saw someone put that in chat. There is a list of notable Deltas anywhere you can look them up.
We have our vice president, Sor Kamala, Felicia Rashad, Maya Angelou. Again, one of my favorites, Toni Morrison. So yes, the list goes on as well for Sora Jameson. So yes, the list goes on as well for us as well. Yes.
And I also know that because you guys have more history as well. So the people that we look up to in history, your organizations were the ones that were around at the time. So that's to be well noted, to be fair. So yes, thank you. Did you want to add something, Leslie? Okay. So the last thing I would like to know is, I want to know about how in your adult life, in your professional lives, how you interact with each other, if at all. Like are there things that you do that you get together and do coalition type of stuff, or co-sponsorships, and I just want to know, like, how the Black Greek community, if that's the right term, how did you feel when Kamala Harris became our vice president? I just want to know, briefly, and we'll end with that, and then we'll take whatever, if there's any other questions, so that we like to end in a timely manner. But I just want to get that one out there. Like, whoever would like to answer that.
I'll start, just because it's great. Like, I'm the only child. I don't have any biological brothers or sisters. This has been an experience of my lifetime. Like you talked about your younger self when I was at Stony Brook as an only child. And of course you have friends, and of course you have cousins, and of course, but being in a sisterhood is something different. It really, really is. And the amount of sisters that I have gained over the years, it's been a blessing to my life, literally. So when you kind of look at it that way, there is a kinship amongst all the organizations. There are, we have definitely the National Panhellenic Council. We work together on a lot of things. We have programs that we do together, certain organizations that we all contribute to and support. And so there is a kinship among all the organizations, and you're happy to see them succeeding as well. So I was happy. I was wearing my Chucks and pearls the day Kamala was there. I would say yes. We were all in support of this person who we know has come through an organization and is representing not just for Black women, but representing Black Greek-led organizations. And as well, she was representing for people that come from all of the historically Black colleges and universities as well. So it was like a triple, quadruple win that we had to all show our support for.
Yes. Okay, so thank you, ladies. I'm going to open up the floor if there's any questions. Anything in the chat, Stephanie? I don't have anything. I see some members that have joined, some of your sisters. So would any of you like to add something?
Yeah.
Until anyone in the chat, if they want to put in their questions in the chat, please do.
I put a link in the chat for notable Zetas, of course, including Zora Neale Hurston, Esther Roll, Vivica A. Fox. So there's a list in there if anybody wants to see.
I have a question. Anyone can answer. So it looks as if there are certain, like Annette said, how we learn about sororities, or what I know about sororities personally, is from what I see on TV, right? And I have a friend or two, but I never really asked the question. So I just want to know, could you be denied? What are the chances that, and if so, how? Why would you be denied? Let's just say I'm going to the school and I'm like, oh, I want to be a soror. Can I just be flat out denied? Even if I'm Black? So I guess it's what are the requirements? And so what would, the fact that I don't have any rhythm, you know, would that be like we were joking before we went live, and I was like, I can't do that Jerusalem dance like Annette's daughter, you know what I mean? And I could never be a cheerleader because like in high school, because I can't get it together, you know what I mean? Like I can't get that routine together. So is it really like you have to have a certain, because to me, the way I look at it, like those were always the cool girls. You know what I mean? And even though you guys don't have the cattiness, you told us that that's not true, but would you deny someone like just because like they're nerdy or they don't have it or they're not cool enough to be part of our tell us the truth?
This is a good question for individual, like to speak, you know, individually, one on behalf of our organizations. And then I don't even, to answer that question, I wouldn't even want to speak for the sorority per se. I would say I came through undergraduate at USC, and at the time I was president of the chapter. So what I looked for in terms of women who were interested in joining through Iota Beta, we were huge on grades. Like that was, so to answer your question, yes, there are requirements. And even per chapter, like our grade, which your GPA was very different than what the sorority. So the sorority could have a base as far as what your grade has to be to come through undergraduate, but then each chapter can have their own kind of requirement. So to answer that question, in our chapter, yes, you had to have high scholastics, you had to have community service, you know, you had to have, we looked at everything in terms of how you presented yourself in the community, what you were doing in the community, what your grades were, at least when I was president, you know, and I was, you know, I came from a revolutionary background, so I was probably much more than with the, I guess, the stereotypical, if you heard some of the stereotypes about, I guess, whatever AKA is supposed to be, everyone thought I would go a different way. However, you know, speaking to, again, what everyone said, I was attracted to my sorority based on some of the women on the campus who were awesome. And I'm like, oh, they're so nice, I want to be with them, right? But the point of the story is, yes, there are requirements. I can't speak to any other really chapter other than the chapter that I came through. It was based on grades, it was based on community service, how well-rounded you were, and we looked at all of that in terms of deciding. And then, of course, what you see on television, a lot of that is illegal. So the other ways to enter to join the organization, at least ours, you know, is no longer, is null and void, right? So and we came in the 90s, so that's a whole different conversation that we won't have on Zoom. But you know, as of now, those are the standards that we look for.
I just like to dispel the myth as well. So we did not join because we love the colors, and we did not join because we could step or stroll. It has so little to do with that. That is such a minuscule part of our organizations and what we stand for and what we represent to the greater public and to our own selves. We have amazing sisters in all of these organizations that can stroll and step. They hold behind off. I am not one of them, but I am a very proud, illustrious member of the organization, and I bring so much to the table. And it's not the colors and it's not the stepping. To add to what my sister already said, scholarship, of course, but your reputation. So a young lady's reputation on a college campus can prohibit her from being a member of an organization. She has got to represent herself in the best light possible. She cannot have a revolving door on her bedroom. She cannot, you know, be wearing, you know, all kinds of lascivious clothes all over the place. That's not to say that she can't have her own personal style and taste, but she has got to represent it in the best way possible. So that's something on an undergraduate level, but as a graduate member, and on all the levels, actually, you go through observation. So we're looking at all the different facets of your life. And if you're someone who likes to argue and fight and start things on campus and rumors, and you're always into something, yeah, no, we don't want that. I mean, we already have our own, we're already a whole group of women trying to figure things out together. You already know that there's issues involved in that. We don't need somebody who we know is a known troublemaker who wants to be a part of our organization, because they're just going to bring drama. We don't need to bring drama. It's like bringing sand to the beach.
Thank you so much for dispelling those myths. I'm sure people have the questions, but they're not asking. So I ask for everyone. Thank you guys for clearing that up. So I do still have a chance.
And someone did say that, somebody pointed in the chat, I saw that you cannot switch organizations. You have to plug it in. That you cannot, if you're part of an organization, I guess an undergrad chapter, you can't switch to go somewhere else in a graduate chapter.
No,
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's well, all of our organizations, and this is a lifetime commitment. You know, when you decide that you are going to commit yourselves to one of our organizations, you are making a lifetime commitment. And so even if your life gets busy and you're not actively involved in a graduate or alumni chapter, you're still a member of the organization, and you can be a financial member and continue to work through a local chapter. You may be, maybe what we consider like a member at large, because maybe you're not in an area anymore where there is a chapter that's working, but there's still things that you're allowed to participate in, and you've made a commitment for life. It's not necessarily a way for you to switch or be a part of something else. So
yes,
good question.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And so this was great. And we just want to thank, I want to thank Cordelia. Well, let me go in order. I want to thank Sauda, Cordelia, Lorraine, and Leslie. We are so grateful that you've taken a part of your time, because we recognize that the Black sororities and fraternities are an integral part of our community, the larger Black community. And so this was very enlightening and interesting, and it's so good to know that there's life beyond campus, right? And that you're, in many ways, you're giving lifelong contributions, and the world is a better place and richer because of your contributions. And so thank you so much. And what we're going to push right now is, we want you to be able to help us as our sisterhood.
Yes, and push Sestra, right?
And so you can teach us some of those things that can help us, to grow that sisterhood and foster that kind of commitment, and that being vested into being very committed to doing something beyond yourself, doing something to help, living a life of service. So thank you so much.
And I want to add that as you can see, the fact that we asked all of you to participate, I hope you understand that is what SestraNow is about. We're not in competition with any woman, any other organization. We are all about uniting women of all cultures, of all backgrounds, and lifting you up, right? So we want to make it clear that we're not in competition with anyone. We want to lift each and every one of you up, and we want to thank you for your contributions to the world. There are plenty of women in the world, right? We just want to do our part. So that's why SestraNow is being started, so that we can be inclusive of all women, okay? And so I just want to thank you all too just thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you giving us this time. You don't know how much.
Yes.
Hello.
Good night, ladies.
Wait. We have one last question. It's really quick. It was asked on Facebook Live a while ago. What is there like an age limit to join a sorority?
I can't speak for everybody, but no, there have been members whose mothers then became members later on in life. We don't have an age limit as to when you can become member, as long as you're qualified and you're interested in membership and you have the high moral character that was mentioned before, and you're willing to commit yourself to public service and kind of exemplify the ideals of the sisterhood, you're welcome.
And for us, at least on my campus, when I did a graduate chapter, there you have to have, of course, graduated college and have that have a degree, but there's no age per se. But for undergrad, had a requirement that we didn't let freshmen. You had to have at least finished that, and that's different per per campus, by the way, but at least on our campus, we wanted you to have at least finished that freshman year.
I think for most colleges, it's probably the same. Freshmen, the first semester freshmen are not allowed to join any organizations. I believe after second semester freshmen, you can't join an undergraduate chapter if you have graduated from the school, but Zeta Phi Beta sorority has no age limit on anyone becoming a member.
Thank you. And as we're we're approaching Women's History Month, we have lots of things in store for you. So please contribute, comment, inspire, share, promote your initiatives, you know, your personal initiatives, because that's what SestraNow is about. Thank you and good night, ladies.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night. All right, everyone on Facebook Live. Have a good night. We're going to end Facebook Live now, right?
Yeah, we're not live anymore. I ended it already.
Okay. Angie, that was great. Thank you for your help.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Yeah, you have to teach me how to do that dance. I just felt like going to a party. After I saw it, I was like, she was like, I was like, oh man, I gotta get to the club. Now, let me stop. Angie, I didn't know you could dance like that.
It's just us three now. Hello?
Yes,
I didn't know you could
added-
dance like that.
I added
I
the
think we
last
have a
people
problem.
in the waiting room.
I think we have a problem. Somebody said, my Sora looks tore up. Talking about Leslie.
Who said that?
Somebody came on during the thing and said, whoa, my Sora looks tore up.
Somebody did it.
They spoke, they were not on mute.
Oh my God, I didn't hear it. I don't think everyone heard.
I didn't
How
hear
did they know who they were
Okay.
talking to? Would you know who they were talking about?
Because we put the Sora's names on they probably come on looking for their Sora.
Anyway, I mean, that's just nasty. Why would someone do that? That's what we don't do. And we need to solidify our rules as well. You know, that's something we have to work on.
I hope she didn't hear it.
I didn't hear anything.
I
I didn't
heard
hear
it.
it either, but she might have heard
You
it.
heard it, Angie?
She was really
Angie,
quiet.
but why didn't you
I
have
didn't hear it.
everybody muted?
Because she might have, when somebody just comes in, it takes a while for you to be able to mute them.
Yeah, she
Like, I would
jumped
mute
on and she
people.
said, whoa, my Sora looks tore up.
I would
Well, how
mute
would we know
people.
they were talking about her?
Because she's the one that looked tore up.
Well, why are you saying, how do you know that they were referring to her? I don't think so.
Well, honestly,
I didn't catch it.
that was my impression. I'm like, what is she didn't even care.
Who knows? That's just disrespectful. It doesn't even deserve anyone's attention. Well, just reach out to Leslie and thank her. And hopefully, you know, she didn't hear anything or hopefully no one was offended. That's crazy, but I think it went very, very well.
I'm just thinking about going back and checking, right? It's recorded, it's the live, and is it something, maybe we should take it off, you recorded it and fix that and then put it back on.
Stop recording.